Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am ZBest. This is another video in the series where I break down all the missions in the new Sector 3 campaign. Today is the Dravec assistance missions. Let's get into it. So assistance is the one caveat where it's not as important as the other ones to know what you need. You just need light tanks and artillery. But for Dravec, remember you can still use tier 7. So with that, assistance 1, destroy an enemy SPG and assist in causing 1000 HP of damage to enemy vehicles by spotting, stunning, or immobilizing. This one, matters, so matchmaker. There's a lot of times where there's no artillery, so kind of have to get lucky with that. I feel wheeled light tanks are best for this because you can go YOLO for artillery at certain points of the game. Alternatively, because you don't always have artillery on the enemy team or your own team, if you're playing a light tank, you can always try to use an artillery and then try to do it that way. As for assistance 2, spot 3 enemy vehicles while remaining unspotted or stun enemy vehicles 10 times. This is one of those where you can do either or. Doesn't really matter. You can use a fast light tank with good camo to get into position, spot a few tanks. The one thing that I'll say here, you don't need to do this at the beginning of the game. It's easier, for example, for the BlackRock mission, but you can get spotted and then go unspotted and then spot a tank, and it counts. So keep that in mind. You can also use a fast rate of fire artillery. There's a bunch in the British and the French lines. Also the Russian tech tree, where you get like 20-second reload, and that's pretty accurate too when they have such a short reload. It's a good way to get a lot of these stun missions done when you have to stun lots of tanks. Assistance 3, immobilize enemy vehicles 4 times or stun enemy vehicles for 130 seconds. This one, again, you can do either one. The immobilizing is typically easier with an autoloader, so the EBR-75 or the VCS are the best. But you can also use a bunch of other things. You can probably even use a T-49 or the Sheridan in this case, if you use HE and A for the tracks. But yeah, it's kind of one of those. You can also use the Borkin just because it's accurate, has pretty good module damage. The stunning enemy vehicles for 130 seconds in total. Basically any high tier artillery can do that every single battle. That's just another way to do it. For assistance 4, destroy 2 enemy vehicles at a range of 100 meters or less, or stun enemy tank destroyers or medium tanks 6 times. This is another mission where you can do either one. Again, I recommend EBR-75 or VCS because you can kind of YOLO in, put 2 shots in, hopefully destroy an enemy vehicle, and then run away. Alternatively, you can use a fast rate of fire artillery again, and just aim for the tank destroyers or medium tanks. Just pre-aim where they normally get spotted or play. So that's another way to do it. Assistance 5, assist in destroying 4 enemy vehicles by spotting, immobilizing, or stunning. This is one of the harder missions. It does get harder with BlackRock, but for Dravec, this is one of the harder missions because it isn't just about spotting damage or tracking damage. It is about having the vehicle get destroyed while you're spotting it or tracking it or stunning it. I would probably just recommend your best light tank, whichever one you feel most comfortable in. Try to do some spotting or tracking, whatever you can to make it happen. Sometimes you just get lucky, and other times you get a good map and it's not that hard. And in the grand scheme of things, assistance missions are pretty map and matchmaker dependent. So that's unfortunately one of the things that I noticed with these. Assistance 6 Assist in causing 3,500 hit points of damage to enemy vehicles by spotting or immobilizing while remaining unspotted. Again, this is one of those where you don't have to be unspotted the entire game. If you get spotted, get delit, and then you can go back into a bush and spot. It'll count. I just recommend a high tier passive scout. You can get into a position. 3,500 is not that hard if you get a reasonable map. As for the 130 seconds of stun against tank destroyers and medium tanks, that is a little bit harder. You have to get kind of lucky. Luckily, North America server, there's typically 5 tank destroyers in a lot of games. But yeah, so that's the other way you can do it. Tier or Assistant 7. Be the top player on both teams by experience earned and survive in battle. Utilize the tier advantage, meaning you can use tier 7 and 8s. Like, go down to tier 7 or 8, play a light tank, get top XP, just do really well in tier 7 or 8. It's definitely the best way to do it. Assistance 8, assisting causing damage to 6 enemy vehicles by spotting, immobilizing, or stunning. This one, wheeled lights are best just because you can kind of YOLO around a map, do passive or active. But yeah, any strong scout can also do it. I think I did a bunch of it in the LKPZ, the tier 8 German light. So it's possible. Assistance 9, destroy 2 enemy SPGs or light tanks, or cause 1,000 hit points of damage to enemy vehicle that remain unspotted when hit. This one's extremely matchmaker dependent. There were so many times where there was 1 light tank or 1 artillery, or 1 light tank and 1 artillery, and that was it. And if a teammate took out the light tank, well, you were SOL. So this one is one of the harder ones, and the alternative condition of hitting unspotted vehicles, that one's harder. I would recommend big damage artillery like a T92, CGC, and blind fire positions. Remember that there is a few seconds after a tank goes unspotted that it still technically counts for a previous tank. You know how you get assistance when a tank goes dark and then artillery hits it or whatever? It's probably about 3 or 5 seconds, and then it will count for this mission. So really, you just have to blind fire spots that people frequent and hope to get lucky. Assistance 10 are in the Mastery Badge Class 1 or higher. Again, use the tier advantage. If you're struggling, I feel like you can play anything and get it, at least with light tanks. You can play tier 11 as well, get a first class, but you can do tier 7, so there's no reason not to. Assistance 11, assisting in causing 4,000 hit points of damage to enemy vehicles by spotting, immobilizing, or stunning, or stun enemy vehicles for 150 seconds in total. Again, you can do either one. Just use a high tier light or artillery. Wheeled light tanks are probably easier because you don't have to be unspotted, so you can do a lot of active scouting too. But at the same time, you can most likely do it in any light tank at high tier. For assistance 12, you can it's spot 6 enemy vehicles and survive, or stun 2 enemy vehicles with a single shot 6 times and survive. You can do either one. I recommend trying to do the spot 6 enemy vehicles and survive. The stun 2 enemy vehicles one is, in my mind, harder. Still possible, but harder. You don't have to do it at the beginning of the game, but it's typically easiest to do essentially a ridge run in a wheeled light, and then hopefully not take any damage, and then fall back and just play a normal game from there, and hopefully win the game and survive. So that's kind of how to do that one. Assistance 13, destroy 2 enemy vehicles by firing while moving at a speed of more than 30, or cause damage 7 times to enemy vehicles that are moving when hit. Remember, enemy vehicles don't have to be moving full speed or even half speed. If they're barely moving, like just reversing or poking out, pulling back, or moving back and forth, it still counts. Fast firing light tank is definitely going to help with the 7 times because you do it quite quickly. You might even be able to just do this and kind of cheese this one with one of the check lights as well. That's honestly, so like the Tessac or the Blask or the Selma. Yeah, honestly, it's probably the easiest. They can also use a wheeled light tank as well and just kind of drive around, and yeah, either one really works. Assistance 14. For this one, assistant causing 2,000 HP of damage to enemy vehicles spotted by you. Remain unspotted at the moment when damage is caused, or stun enemy heavy tanks for 80 seconds in total. The arty mission is easier in this one, honestly, quite a bit. Typically, there's quite a few heavy tanks. Currently, honestly, there were games where there are 7 or 10 heavy tanks, and you can get 80 seconds stun in four shots, especially with high tier arty. So it's not that hard to do that one. But yeah, for assistance 15, damage caused, including damage caused with your assistance, must total 6,000 hit points. Just a high tier light. You can most likely do it in anything above tier 8, especially if you get a lot of spotting. But if you do 10 or 11, 3,000 or 4,000 damage outright's pretty easy, and if you get a little bit of assistance, you already have it. So yeah, that's assistance for Dravec for you. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out in the comments, or join my Discord, reach out. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, all of those things. I'll have the BlackRock mission breakdowns out in the coming weeks. Please check those out if you are interested. Have a good one.